What's up, man? It's your boy here, J Money. Today, I just want to talk about how Stranger Things and Welcome to Derry are completely two different things because there's so much talk right now, and most of it is negative, of why Stranger Things and Welcome to Derry are so similar. But I'm here to say, are they kind of similar? In ways they are, but for the most part, they are pretty damn different. Episode 1 of Welcome to Derry came out Sunday, and dude, I mean, if you haven't checked my review out yet, I loved it a lot. I thought it was goated, and I thought it was so different when it came to storytelling, and just spoiler alert, killing off most of the main cast right off rip first episode. Thought that was crazy. But just a great show overall, and I'm somebody who hasn't watched the movies at all, and I haven't watched the remake, and I haven't watched the old one, or even the second one to the remake, Chapter 2. Not something that I ever watched, but I was able to appreciate the lore and that was surrounded around it, and appreciate this first episode. And I am pumped for the second episode coming out Halloween, October 31st. I'm so excited for that, and kind of a cool date for it coming out. But when it comes to Stranger Things, you have this group of kids who go out, and they kind of have to figure out this mystery with 11 and all that, and they're riding their bicycles. And then people see the kids doing this in Welcome to Derry, and they're like, oh, it's just a Stranger Things ripoff, right? And I know that was a big thing when Chapter 1 came out, where people were like, yo, this is just Stranger Things. I mean, you got one of the Stranger Things guys in there, right? And people were comparing it and saying that this is just the same shit. But, dude, sure, it's a group of kids and they're riding bikes and they're solving something. Okay, but let's not forget that Stephen King created this, right? Stephen King is the reason why this formula is a thing. Even I know that, and I didn't even watch the hit movies, but I know from so much chatter and so much videos and so much interviews that Stephen King was the reason why this is a thing. Stranger Things was inspired by Stephen King. Even the lettering Stranger Things is. So, of course, it is inspired by it, and that's fine for it to be inspired by that. But what makes it so different is that, first off, they just kill, like, literally 70% of that group. Literally, they rip these kids in half. And Stranger Things, you ain't seen that. Okay, sure, it's rated PG-14, right? Okay, that's Netflix's choice at the end of the day. And it is, obviously, Warner Bros., HBO's choice to make this rated M for mature. I mean, obviously that this is their choice, and they wanted to do that. That right there is a big difference, is that they have the balls to just kill these kids off the first episode. That right there is a big difference. Not only that, just the difference of losing a friend in such a bizarre way. Sure, you can make comparisons about to Will and Maddie at the end of the day, but it's two different entities. It's two different things. It's two different ideas. You can't say that it's basically the same thing as something if it's two different ideas and concepts in two different ways they're disappeared in two different lores. It's like saying McDonald's and Burger King are pretty much the same. Yeah, but then it's like saying, oh, McDonald's and Taco Bell are the same. No, they're the same because they're fast food joints having these combos and all that, right? Comparing two things that are literally the same because they're burgers and fries, and comparing a fast food chain to a fast food chain just because they're fast food chain is two different things. And that's why I feel like people are just getting a little over exaggerated. We live in a time nowadays where people will just dissect and be picky on every little thing ever. I review a movie on this channel and I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I rarely ever say why. I'm just like, yeah, there were some things wrong with it, but I never really talk about what's wrong with it, because I'm gonna be honest, there's nothing that was so wrong with it to the point I'm going to talk about it. It wasn't like, oh my god, it was just a terrible thing that I have to say. No, it was just like there were so many little things in there that, which made it a 7.5 for me personally, but I'm not going to complain and talk about how, this sequel didn't need to happen. Oh, why is this movie even a thing? Oh man, this guy, he's over here trying to be a better actor. Like, no, I'm not trying to be negative with the situation. And that's what it kind of comes off when people try to do this. We're like, oh, comparing this and this together. Like, why are we comparing things? What's the reason for comparing it? There's no reason to compare it, especially when it comes to a situation like this where, like, dude, just try to go enjoy a show. You're like, oh, this is too much like Stranger Things. Then I don't know what to tell you, man. You don't know your knowledge at the end of the day, and if you can't at least respect that, if you can't respect and say, you know what, I love Stranger Things, and I want to watch this, and it felt too much like it to me personally, it's just not my thing. I just want to stick to Stranger Things because that's to me where this formula belongs. At least to me, I know what came before it though, and I respect that. But just this show is just not my thing. Or you know what I mean? Like instead of doing that, people are like, oh my god, this show is such a fucking ripoff from it, man. I mean, dude, this is literally Stranger Things. We saw this with it chapter one. This is ridiculous. Like, dude, no, man. There's a form of hate, and there's a form of just being like polite and just being an honest, real person, right? And just knowing your facts before you go on the internet and talk a whole bunch of bullshit, right? So those are the main differences of this. You know what I mean? And look, I guess you can also compare, and I'll give you this, is that the whole military thing going on is kind of like with Stranger Things, is that they knew about the upside down Stranger Things, and it seems like they know about Pennywise in this situation. Well, like I said, it's two different things, right? You're talking about a whole different dimension in Stranger Things, and you're talking about a whole different entity, right? In Welcome to Derry, in the It universe itself. So it's just two different things, and sure, it's a similar formula here and there, but if anything, if you're respectful and kind of know what's going on, Stephen King had this, and then Stranger Things, wanted to use that formula and was inspired by it. And then Welcome to Derry had their thing, and hey, something was inspired off of you, and then hey, you want to inspire off of the thing that was inspired off of you, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to happen. And I feel like that's just what this situation is, plain and simple. Stranger Things loved what Stephen King did, so they obviously were inspired by it. It Welcome to Derry not only is its own thing, it itself, Stephen King involved, you know what I mean, stuff like that within its own formula, but it also was inspired by some things from Stranger Things, which is, I think, is cool. It was inspired by the actual thing, and the thing that was inspired by it, now that thing is inspired by that, and I think that that is cool, and easily in the simple answer for this situation. But yeah, like I said, I like this show. I don't mind how there's some comparisons there, but let's be honest, there's a good bit of differences here. But tell me what you guys think about the show in general, and tell me, how do you compare these shows? Are you one of the people who really think that this is just a Stranger Things copy, or do you think there is enough differences there?